Hello, I'm Rachel Miller and I'm from the medical team within Larkin Gowan. Today I'm just going to show you a brief training on how to prepare credit notes on expenses on QuickBooks. So this is a question that we get asked quite regularly because it can take a few steps just to prepare these. So for example, I'm going to show you here on our QuickBooks, you'll see on the bank transactions, if I scroll down, that £200 has been spent to EDF Energy. When I click onto that and I try to match it to the invoice, the only one that's coming up is the bill for £250 and not the £200 that we're looking for. So what's happened here is the credit note has not been allocated to the bill. So I'll just come out of that. So what we need to do in this instance is go to expenses, find our supplier. So you'll see here, I've got EDF Energy. I'll click into there. You'll see here, we've got the bill that was raised on the 30th of November for £250 and it's still showing as outstanding. So you'll see here, overdue £250. But we also have on the system a supplier credit, which is for minus £50. So that's why the open amount is £200, which is what we're expecting to see come out of the bank. So if you're unsure at this point how to create a bill or a supplier credit, this can be done using the plus new button at the top left hand side here. You can select bill or supplier credit and enter the information. So what we need to do now is click onto the bill that the credit note relates to and select make payment. Then you'll see here what the system is doing is it's allocating £50 of the credit note to the payment. So we need to change this box here to say 50. So it's the same amount as the credit note. Once this has been entered, you'll see here the amount is 0. So the credit note has been allocated to the bill. Once that's been done, you can select save and close. Now what we can do is we can go into transactions and your bank transactions. Scroll down to the £200 and you'll see that a match has been found. So this is matching to the £200 that is outstanding for the EDF. You can then select match and that has been posted. So if we go back to our expenses and our supplier, just to double check this if you wanted to, you can now see that the open and the overdue amount is nil. You can see the initial bill that was raised, the credit note and the payment. This initial payment here, the bill payment check, the reason for that is because that's when we allocated the supplier credit to the bill. Okay, that's one way that you might receive a credit note. In other instances, you may actually receive money into the bank that relates to a credit note. For example, here, this client has received £195 from Angular Water. So this is slightly different. So if we go into expenses and suppliers, and we look into Angular Water, you'll see that a credit note has been created. Again, this can be done by the plus new button on the left-hand corner and selecting supplier credit. And you enter all the information here, such as the supplier, so Angular Water would have been selected, the date of the credit note. It's also important to always attach the credit note if you have it available, and also to put a description of any dates that it might relate to within the description box. This just makes it a lot easier when it's being looked at later down the line. So that's the credit note that's been created. But you'll see here, if I go onto the bank transactions and I see the £195 and you go on to match, the credit note isn't coming up. So what do we need to do at this point? What we need to do is go to the top left-hand corner and select plus new, and we select bank deposit. That's up the top right-hand corner there. So you need to select the right bank account. So that's our current account. You need to enter the date that the amount came into the bank. So that was the 20th of December. The receive from, so that will be the Anglian Water. And then the account, this is slightly different, is you put creditor. So select trade creditor. In here, you can just put a description of refund, and then the amount you put in your £195. So that's now all been posted, and you can select save and close. The next step we need to take is we once again go to the plus new button up here, and you select check. In the payee box, select the supplier, so that will be the Angler Water. Select the bank, and then you just need to select add on both the deposit and the supply credit. Okay, so then they're both now posted with the amount here of 0. You can then select save and close. Perfect. Now when we go back to our bank, to the bank transactions, we can see here that a match has been found. I'd always just click on there to make sure it is what we're expecting. But you can see here the deposit for the Angler Water has been selected, and you can click on match. Just to check this, we can go into expenses and suppliers, go into the Angler Water. You'll be able to see there that there's no amounts due and no amounts open, and you'll see the supplier credit and the deposit there. And that's all completed. So that's how you deal with the two different types of credit notes that you might see on expenses. Please do let me know if you have any further queries, and I'll be happy to help.